let's get into this. New Yoshi-P Interview. Plans to make Final Fantasy XIV less stress-free. Hints at plans for his next game. Wait, less stress-free? I thought I heard the opposite. Oh, regrets. Here we go. There's a new interview out with Yoshi-P and WFS mobile game designer Shimoda Shochan. As Yoshi-P cutely calls him. It's a pretty long interview, including a look back on Yoshida's career, the recent fan fest, but here's my translations for a couple of parts that stood out. Regrets over making Final Fantasy XIV less stressful. Okay, here we go. Regrets. Yoshida reflecting on the fan festival. So from now on, we'll keep working to surprise players and go beyond what they imagine. But that reminds me of something I regret. As we've continued to operate Final Fantasy XIV, we've made the game more comfortable. A game you can play without stress. But looking back on the last 10 years, I'm thinking we've overdone that a bit. Shimoda, what do you mean? Yoshida, a video game should of course have an element of stress, but how to handle that properly is extremely difficult. I can agree with that, says Shimoda. For example, in a side-scrolling game, if there aren't any holes you can drop down into if you miss a jump, of course, the game would lose its stress. But it would also lose its fun. Right, there's no challenge, no fun. It's like, what's the point? It's like playing with cheat codes, right? It's like cool for like a minute that you get everything, but then you're like, wow, I sped through the entire game and it was super easy, and now I'm bored. Speaking of 14, I would like to restore that part a little bit. If we do that, we can give everyone a better challenge in a good way than ever before. I agree that we need more challenging content. How do we make things more stressful, but also fun and not too obnoxious? Okay. Things that can be made more stressful. And with the criteria of make it challenging, more fun, engaging without sacrificing quality of life and respecting your time, so it's not a stupid grind. It's not a brainless, dumb grind. That's not hard or stressful. That's a different kind of stress. We have said use more crowd control in dungeons and raids. Crowd control, I think it would be great. Instead of just wall-to-wall, boss, rinse, repeat. Give DPS more accountability. More one-hit KO mechanics in story, dungeon, raids, and trials. Like a sense of danger. Okay, instead of these toothless dungeons. Vuln stacks not mattering. They don't matter at all. Not having to use Asuna or Rescue. I think they need to use more of their kit. People should use more of their kit. Not just healers, but like people need to utilize their kit. Please. I can't remember the last time I had to use Asuna. Unless there was like a... Well, there are some fights where if you get hit by something, there's a doom and you can be cleansed. Or they don't even have it on their bar. They're like, I don't know, what's that? And then they just fall over dead. You have to Asuna people. You have it in T. I don't think it's hard. It's harder because of all the other things that are happening in T. But if you put like that in the game, in normal content, where it's like one or two people have a throttle type thing, where if you don't cleanse them, they're dead. Yeah, do it. Put it in there. Require rescue. That'd be fun. I think it's a bit more interesting. When was the last time a DPS had to use anti-knockback in story content? Some of the knockbacks don't always knock them to their death, right? Maybe in like an alliance raid, but like think of a dungeon, a story dungeon, or some roll skills. It's required in like things like wormhole, DSR, only DSR, and T. Using more of your kit and rotation buffs, or else you fail, or maybe, I don't know, enrage maybe? Who knows? We said maybe a Mythic Plus style dungeon system, reducing the boss's hitbox size and the boss sizes because they've gotten to be comically large. That could add some kind of challenge, but I don't know, not really. And that's more of a challenge for melee, your tanks and melee, than it is for any ranged. Ranged, they don't give a fuck. Kiting enemies. We mentioned unique gear or rare special drops that maybe they don't work inside Savage and Ult, but it works inside other content, like Eureka as an example, or maybe there's a bonus, a set bonus for doing dungeons or trials, like something cool to make it a more enticing. You're like, oh, neat. Let's get that piece of gear. Or if I do hard modes, if I do like a hard mode dungeon, you get a set bonus. You get something cool. But it doesn't work for Savage, so it doesn't make things like completely OP. Because we can't balance gear in this game. Like gear's boring, the stats are boring, but it's done so in a way that we don't fuck up our balance. If there's like this rare drop that's completely OP, then everyone's gonna have to have this. Yeah, M+, I agree. Harder hunt mobs, world bosses, and rare enemies that either drop high level gear tokens or maybe just cosmetic stuff if you don't want to make people feel like they have to do it. Open world mobs could be harder to kill. A vault system in WoW would be good to add, where you can pick and choose the optional content. You don't have to do any of it, but if you do, you get rewarded for it. And the harder the thing that you do, the harder the content you do, the better the rewards that you get. I think that's nice. Completely optional, but it's there. Remove the easy mode on the solo fights. You just have to do it. You need to prepare people better for in-game content, or at least make them respect their job's kit and rotation, and not just instead of dragon kick meta, one button dragon kick over and over and over and over. Roulettes are easy. We could have Unreal Dungeons, or you could give us our full level cap. Give level cap full kits and dungeons, like maybe Time Walker. Make hard dungeons hard, not trivial. And then as a joke, this is a joke, maybe, put all the cute mounts, glamours, and Coomer Adventure Plate rewards behind the hard stuff. Lamau. That will encourage people to do this content. Oh my god. All we have to do is put butt sliders. Unlock butt sliders after doing all the hard content. Yep. Unlock butt sliders from doing the hard content. Hard content achievement. Something like that. Not ultimates, though. Make expert dungeons not limited to just 2 or 3 dungeons. Add more dungeons from the past and harder versions, where you have to use defensive cooldowns in dungeons instead of just trash. Dungeon bosses instead of just trash. Have tanks take actual damage. Make relics more challenging to upgrade instead of just a grind fest for Tombstone grind fest. People don't know how to do any tank swaps. Tank swaps in for fun content. They are not taught how to use this. Use shirk much? What are those? What's the tank swap? Oh, is it when is it an Asmon swap when the tank just dies? Even then, man, how many times you get into like a trial or whatever and some normal for fun thing, the tank dies, the other tank just doesn't have their stance on and they don't know what to do. They're like, huh? I'm just a DPS. I'm just a blue DPS. I'm like, hello, provoke. Or an alliance raid. There's like one guy. There's 2 situations that happen in alliance raid. You either have tanks that provoke on cooldown that have to be the main tank, or you only get one of those tanks that is the main tank, and the other 2 don't provoke anything else like ads ever. Meaning DPS start dying if there's ever an ad. Yeah, it's either the voke off between the tanks, I'm the tank, I want to be the main tank, or the absent tank, the blue DPS. Anyway, that's like my list here. Pretty good list, pretty good. What do you think? Yes, no, good.